We started Discover the Sciences, and it's typically held on a Saturday. And now, unfortunately, you're not able to be with us in our labs, in our buildings, sitting down at the tables with the faculty and students to hear about their research projects. But we did want to give you a sense of what it's like to be at Miami and what makes Miami so special. So what we've decided to do is, instead of trying to fit it all in one session, we're going to split it up over several different days. And what we're going to do today is to give you a general overview, sort of a 300-foot view of the sciences at Miami. And then we're going to invite you back for special sessions for different areas in the sciences. And so, just to give you a sense of the different areas of study that we have at Miami, it ranges everywhere from anthropology all the way down to zoology. So you can see that we offer a wide range of natural sciences, the math, analytics, to the social sciences. And the common thread with all of these different programs is that they all offer opportunities for undergraduates to get involved in doing undergraduate research and scholarship with the faculty. Almost all of these programs also have the advantage that they're supported and complemented by relatively small graduate programs. And so what that means is that you're going to find all the resources that you would find at a large university, but with the focus on undergraduates and undergraduate education. And I just want to point out a couple of our newer majors for those of you who might be interested. So we just launched this year an innovative new degree in data analytics. And so this is a really exciting degree, because what it does is it offers the core courses in analytics, but then you also specialize in a particular area. So you can do analytics in the social sciences, you can do analytics, you can do computational linguistics. So if you're interested in more on the English side of things, you can do public health and epidemiology if you're more of a biological science kind of person. And so this degree was put together based on input we got from a lot of our different alums who were saying that they were looking for students who had a grounding in analytics, but could actually understand what the data actually meant, and not just crunch numbers, but do the application of the data. And so we're really excited about that. And then also another innovative program that we have is public health. So this is a degree that we share with the School of Education, Health, and Society. And so it's again a core set of courses in public health, and then you can specialize either in the College of Arts and Science, in epidemiology, or in public health policy. So as I said, Miami is a special university, and when I was an undergraduate myself and looking for schools, I was one of those science nerds, and I wanted to get involved in undergraduate research. And I was very fortunate that I had a chance to do undergraduate research. And so when I became a faculty member, I would look for a school that allowed the students to do research, had the resources to do research, but put the foundation, the emphasis on undergraduate education. And I think that that's what really makes Miami so special. So I always say that we offer the best of both worlds. We have the large school resources, the resources that you would find at a Big Ten university, whereas they may have 4 or 5 of everything. We only have 1. But the key is at Miami, the graduate programs are smaller so that our undergraduates get a chance to work side by side with the faculty using all the instrumentation we have. So we have state-of-the-art research programs, but Miami is true to itself in being an undergraduate university, like more along the lines of a small liberal arts school. So we've got that small school attitude. You're going to have close personal interactions between the student and the faculty. and ultimately that all leads to your student success. So just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, on this slide, I highlight just a few of the many different support centers and resources that we have for doing scholarship at Miami. And so if you're able to read very quickly, you'll notice that not all of these actually fall into the sciences. But one of the things about Miami students is that they're very broad in their interests. And so our science students, we have some students who are like me, who are sort of a math and science geek. We have others who are interested in science, but they're also interested in English or art or many different things. And so as you can see here, we've got all the hardcore science facilities, the Center for Advanced Microscopy and Imaging. If you want to do bioinformatics and functional genomics, if you want to use our 850 megahertz NMR and do metabonomics on umbilical cord samples from students who have inherited diseases, you can do that. But you could also be part of our Humanities Center, or you could be part of the Sue J. Henry Center for Pre-Law Education. It may be that you want to use your science degree and go to law school and do patent law. All of these opportunities we provide our students. And these opportunities turn into a wide range of experiential learning opportunities. So in my office, every year we provide between 30 and 40 Dean Scholars. So we provide funding to our students to do undergraduate research with faculty. There are summer scholars. So our students will stay on over the summer and do a paid internship at Miami to do research with a faculty member. We provide small research awards for students to fund their research, whether you're working in the lab to buy supplies or you're interested in doing field work in zoology or anthropology. You can get money to go on a trip to go to an archaeological dig and further your research there. So just as an example, last year we had over 1,300 arts and science students who were enrolled in independent study courses with their faculty mentors. The other thing we noticed a few years ago was that although many of our science students had a pretty good idea of what they wanted to use their science degree for, more of our social science students weren't quite clear on how they were going to use that liberal arts degree that we're so famous for as far as getting jobs. And so we've made a big push to increase the number of internships that we offer our students. So we're really interested in not only getting you involved in research-based projects here on campus at Miami, but partnering you with a lot of our alumni out in the corporate world. If you decide you don't want to go to medical school or graduate school, but you want to go and get a job, there's many different opportunities for you to do internships. And as you'll see in the slide, that in the past year, we doubled the number of internships that our students are involved in. And all of this leads to student outcomes. So our students are authors on books and journal articles. They give presentations at professional meetings. And just this every year we have an undergraduate research forum. This past year we had 286 arts and science students that presented at the research forum. And this was down from 438 that were registered for this when we had to go virtual. So as your high school education is being upended, we're having to cope with everything being virtual this year and the end of last year too. So this just sort of summarizes our outcomes. So again, we have all sorts of awards that we provide to our students. And then ultimately this leads to great results. So our undergraduate students are highly competitive for national awards. You can just see some of the awards that our students won, including Fulbrights. Every year for the last several years, we've had multiple students win Goldwater Awards, Beckman scholarships. And so our students translate that the experience working in the lab, working with faculty into a large number of national awards. And likewise, our students have a lot of success, both for professional school and graduate school. So our medical school admission rate is not quite 62%, which is nearly 20 points above the national average. So which is pretty amazing when you think about it. Our MCAT percentile is the 77th percentile. And every year we have numerous students who go on to graduate school at top schools, including Harvard, Stanford, MIT. So basically the sky is the limit. So what we wanted to do now, before we open up the panel for questions, is to give you some background and information on programming that we have that highlights our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We'll have a brief presentation on our Honors College, and then we'll wrap up the more formal part of this with some information on student financial aid. And then, as I said, we will open up things to your questions. And I'd like to now introduce Carolyn Craig. You're muted, Carolyn.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Carolyn Craig, and I'm the new Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the College of Arts and Science. And so I just wanted to share with you a little bit about some of the programming and some of the things that we are doing in CAS to show our commitment to equity, belonging, social justice, and inclusivity. First of all, let me say, as Chris has stated, we have some top scholars that are working not only in our science areas, but in our areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion that are teaching our courses and doing research here. So, and including our science instructors as well. We have tons of curriculum involving diversity, equity, and inclusion that we do tie into our science curriculum, and training for our faculty and staff around DEI, justice, dialogue, and allyships. Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Council is a new council that we just developed that will help us drive our strategic diversity plan for the college. And then we're always looking at pipeline programs to introduce high school students to the College of Education, the College of Arts and Science, and Recruitment and Retention Initiatives. We believe in building community and fostering inclusive leadership. So we are looking to start a multicultural arts and science Students Association to really help ground our freshmen as they come into the college. We have a multicultural students leader advisory group that we're starting, so they'll have access direct to the dean to provide feedback and help him with some things. And then we have a ton of student organizations that are focused on our students as well. And then we believe in collaborating across campus. So if you have not heard, we do have a Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion and the Center for American and World Cultures, all of which we partner with. And we also partner with outside organizations like the Ohio Diversity Council as well. So again, a very strong commitment to diversity and inclusion. One of the programs that we have is what we call our Bridges program, which is a program for underrepresented students, high school seniors. They come, they spend some time at Miami overnight. They get to meet with all kinds of students. They get to interact with faculty and staff and just really have experience Miami. And if you apply for Miami, then your fee is waived if you're one of those students. And if you're accepted to Miami, you then become what we call a Bridges Scholar. And that whole program has a lot of support services for our students as well as those students also get a scholarship. Specifically for our science students, we have a program called LSAP, which is our Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. It is a nationally recognized program. This year we've won 2 awards already for the work that we do in LSAP. It's ran by Ms. Kim Collins, who's our program director. It's a support services and enrichment activities program, academic and retention and advising. You get free tutoring, peer mentors for our first year students. We have weekly study tables, a lot of career and financial stipend and career and leadership development. And we also have an early arrival program in a live and learning community and a student organization for our scholars. So it's a pretty robust program. The other thing is, as Chris has been talking about, is our students do a ton of undergraduate research. So they get to work with faculty, they present at forums, they go to conferences, and we also have a first year experience research class for our students as well. They're involved in LSAP. And of course, we do everything we can to prepare you for graduate school preparation. There is some eligibility requirements, and you must complete a enrollment form once you're here. But again, it is a nationally recognized program that we're really proud of to have in CAS. So I encourage you to learn more about it. I think someone just put the information in the chat, or you can reach out to me or Ms. Collins, and we'll be happy to talk with you about it.
Thanks, Carolyn. So next we have Zeb Baker, the director of our Honors College.
Thank you, Dean Makaroff. It's always a pleasure for me to participate and discover the sciences. Every year we put together a compilation of where are our students majoring, and 50% of honors students on campus are majoring in CAS, and of that 50%, 60% of them are STEM students. And so there's a very robust representation of STEM fields, like Dean Makaroff said, from anthropology to zoology in the honors community. So the opportunity that we have to offer you here at Miami in terms of honors education really aligns well with the kinds of opportunities that you're going to learn about throughout Discover the Sciences. Now, the Honors College is new. We've had a very good honors program for many, many years, since the late 50s, but we're amplifying the opportunities that you will have in honors education here on campus through the new Honors College, which will start in fall of 2021. So all of you would be on the ground floor, so to speak, of this opportunity. We want to build the most robust academic environment that we possibly can. We want students from a variety of backgrounds, a variety of fields to come together and work with our staff in the Honors College, as well as faculty from across campus, to build a community of learners. And that really begins in our residential college, which is a unique opportunity here at Miami. It is Miami's only residential college. And you will be living and learning alongside other students in the Honors College. The residential college will be located in 3 newer buildings on Western Campus: Stonebridge, Hillcrest, and Beechwoods Halls. I've taken several tours of these buildings so far. I've been on a lot of college campuses, and I've seen a lot of honors colleges and programs who have fine facilities. But let me tell you, these are, bar none, the nicest residential facilities I've ever seen. They are amazing. They're organized into small houses, so you'll live alongside about 20 or 30 other students in a house. And we really hope to organize activities, classes, seminars, learning opportunities, but also just fun activities, community building activities that are built around your house and other houses in the residential college. And we really want the residential college to be an opportunity for you to help us build what that meaningful community of learners is going to look like. And I think that's a unique opportunity for you coming here next fall. You're really going to shape that community. Your leadership is going to be very important for us to think through, what do honors students want to get out of a residential community in which you are living and learning alongside other honors college students. The real focus of the Honors College, though, is undergraduate research. And that really dovetails very nicely with the opportunities that Dean Makaroff was talking about at the beginning of this presentation. It also dovetails with opportunities like LSAMP, because we want to make sure that honors students are engaged in an intensive, rigorous academic experience. And we feel that research and writing across the disciplines is central to that. Dean Makaroff has been incredibly helpful to us in building the Honors College and helping us to connect with departments and faculty across CAS to build the kinds of learning environments that are going to make sure that you have access to outstanding research opportunities. That also connects with the other thing I want you to walk away from here with the knowledge of the Honors College is that we are going to have great opportunities for you to be mentored by Miami's top faculty. You know, we have outstanding STEM faculty at this university. Dean Makaroff was talking about how it's almost graduate level degrees of attention that you receive as an undergraduate in pursuing research. It really is a chance for you to start building your portfolio of accomplishment as a researcher, as somebody who is really in the vanguard of your field as an undergraduate. And we want to amplify that through the quality of the mentorship that you will have access to with faculty fellows who will be participating in the Honors College, and with a faculty in residence who will be living in the Honors Residential College, which is a unique setup here at Miami. Now, I would really encourage you to visit our website, which is miamioh.edu/honors, to learn more about the Honors College and the difference that it can make in your learning here at Miami. But I would also encourage you to set up a time to talk with one of our honors advisors one-on-one during our prospective student meeting times. You can arrange one of those meetings on our website, and you can talk through in greater detail not only the opportunities and benefits of being part of the Honors College, but also, your particular interest in coming to Miami, your particular interest in participating in honors. How do you apply to be a part of the Honors College? Well, you indicate your interest in it on the Common App. You will then be asked to write an essay. That essay is also the same essay that you will have to write to be considered for Prodessa Scholars, which is another high ability program that is starting this coming fall, and our Presidential Fellows program, which is Miami's top full ride academic scholarship program. I think that all of you should take the time and really think through, why do you want to participate in these programs? Which program is the best fit for you? The Honors College certainly is going to be a good fit for any student who's interested in research and also in engaging with ideas and with scholarship. We would really encourage you to apply by December 1st. December 1st is the priority deadline for those applications, but also for merit aid consideration. And along those lines, I think we can now move on to our next presenter, who's going to talk about our financial aid opportunities.
So our next presenter is Kimberly Fields.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? On behalf of the Office of Student Financial Assistance, I welcome you all to Miami, and we hope to see you. I'm very pleased to be here with you this evening. And so what we're going to cover tonight very quickly is how to apply for aid, what is required, and deadlines, the types of aid, and timelines. At Miami, we don't have a separate application for scholarships. All students who are accepted to Miami are automatically considered for merit scholarships. We will use the information on your admissions application along with your high school transcript. Referencing the fall 2021 merit grid, merit scholarships, value ranges, all the way up to full tuition. These awards are all good for 4 years, provided that you remain or maintain a 3.0 GPA. Priority considerations, so deadlines are key. Priority consideration is given to those that complete the admissions application by December 1. Review and determination will be based on, like I said, the GPA and transcript information that we have on file at the time you did your application. The free application for federal student aid, or what we lovingly call the FAFSA, is used to apply for need-based aid and federal loans. Goes my clock, sorry. You apply online at FAFSA.gov on or after October 1st, and most applicants will be able to import your income. So instead of manually putting in your tax return information, a lot of people find that hard to follow the tax return and the FAFSA. You can now download all of your FAFSA, all of your IRS information right into the FAFSA application, and it's a lot easier. You can also list up to 10 schools on the application, and those will be sent, the information will be sent to all 10 of those schools. If you apply early decision or early action, we recommend that you complete your FAFSA by December 1. And in all cases, we recommend that you file your FAFSA by February 1st. So February 1st is our main deadline. But to get priority consideration, it's a good idea to get it in by December 1. By completing the FAFSA, you will be considered for grants, and these are monies that you do not have to pay or repay, college work-study opportunities, and then low-interest student loans that don't have to be repaid until after graduation. The payments may also be deferred if you pursue graduate school. So if you move on to graduate, you can defer your payments. So you don't have to worry about making the payment, and you can dive into graduate school without having any worries about your student loans. Regardless of income, you will qualify for some sort of loan from the U.S. Department of Education. Right now, it's a 2.75 fixed interest rate, and these are all available to students regardless of family income. Parents can also apply through the U.S. Department of Education for what we call a Parent Plus loan. Those are in the parent's name, but help meet the student's expenses. And that interest rate is also fixed at 5.30. All of those interest rates will either stay the same or change July 1st of 2021. My main message tonight is, even if you don't think it might be a waste of time to complete the FAFSA, I would recommend that you do it anyway. Doing this will permit Miami to consider you for all possible sources of aid. A timeline is make sure that you complete your admissions application by December 1 to get priority, and then complete your FAFSA by December 1st or no later than February 1. And your offer, we're really going to try hard to get your offer by March of 2021. So if you have any questions, I'll be available to answer questions in the chat and Thank you for letting me come tonight.
Thanks, Kimberly. So now we'd like to open things up to questions. So if you have questions, you could enter them into the question box, and Margaret will field questions as they come in and direct them to our panelist.
Great. So I know that Dr. Baker already answered this chat in this question in the chat, but I think it's a valuable question for everyone to kind of hear. So a student asked, if you're not directly admitted to the honors program as a first-year applicant, are you able to apply to the honors college as a current student at Miami?
Zeb, you can take that.
The answer is yes. We're going to have a current student admission process that will take place in the spring of your first year at Miami, and that will take into account not only what you did in high school in terms of your accomplishments, academic, co-curricular, otherwise, but also, more importantly, what have you accomplished at Miami? And we'll look at your academic record, also the opportunities that you got involved with in terms of clubs or leadership or research. And we usually take about 20 to 30 students a year through that current student admission process. And we would anticipate that's about how many we would continue to admit into the Honors College through current student admission. So if you aren't admitted into the Honors College directly out of high school, there is still a path for you to enter the Honors College should you come to Miami. Once you get here, that avenue is still open to you.
Perfect. Thank you. We actually have two questions. I think this may be something for Dean Makaroff. Students would like to know what kind of opportunities Miami provides for students who are interested in pre-med or pre-vet or basically pre-healthcare education. Right.
So we will, as part of the biological science session later, we will have a presentation by our Mallory Wilson Pre-Health Center. But we actually do have a pre-health center where we have a director and a full-time advisor to work with students. We have something, we don't offer a pre-med degree because you can't really get a degree in pre-medicine. So you can major in you can have a major in anything that you would want, but still prepare for medical school. And so we have something called the pre-med co-major. And so that pre-med co-major basically requires all the different courses that you would need to take to successfully take the MCAT. And so there's the pre-med co-major, which has several different courses associated with it. We have a lot of alums who are in the health professions who will come back and meet with the class. We'll talk about how they got accepted into medical school or dental school, what life is like as a physician, and help students write their essays. And then we actually have alums who come back several times a year who do mock interviews for medical school. So that's one of the really nice things, and I think actually helps our students do so well as far as medical school acceptances, is the passion and commitment of our alumni. Our alumni sponsor our students for shadowing. We call them preceptorships. So if you want to shadow a particular doctor, if you're interested in anesthesiology or pediatrics, you're looking for someone in your hometown and you don't have a friend of the family, we are able to connect you with alumni who are in your area who would be more than happy to have you shadow them. So there's many different support options for our students who are interested in pre-health. And as I said, that's going to be a whole session later on. And I'll show you at the end of today's presentation when you can sign up, when that will be and how to sign up for that.
Thank you. I can see a student, Sean, just asked, is the College of Arts and Science a direct admit program at Miami, Ohio? And I can answer that quickly. The answer is yes. So if you are admitted to Miami University, when we review your application in the Office of Admission, if you are admitted, you are eligible to join any of our programs in the College of Arts and Science, and that is an automatic process. So there's nothing additional that you would need to do in order to join the College of Arts and Science. So great question. We also have a student who would like to know if we could elaborate on the overnight program that we offer. So I'm guessing that's Bridges. Carolyn, if you want to take that, or I can elaborate, whichever you would prefer.
You can go ahead.
Okay, so Bridges is a program that we run through the Office of Admission, and it's geared primarily towards exposing students who maybe either come from underrepresented backgrounds or students who just have a passion for diversity and want to make sure that they can promote inclusion on whatever college campus they may end up. It's a program to help expose them to Miami and kind of show you the opportunities and the experiences that we have available on our campus. It's traditionally an overnight experience. This year, it has already started for current seniors and it's taking place virtually, obviously because of COVID-19 restrictions. But we are hoping that next year we'll be able to start hosting that program on campus again. But really, it's just this awesome opportunity for students to really get connected with faculty and current students, to learn not just about the importance of, promoting diversity and inclusion on your future college campus, but also getting to know Miami University as an institution really well, and seeing if it could be a good fit for your college education. So unfortunately for current seniors, the program has already started, but if there are any juniors in the room, we would definitely encourage you to look into the Bridges program next fall. That application usually goes live in the middle of the summer, and it stays up until usually about the middle of September.
And
that is the Bridges program.
I was a Bridges student, and I will tell you, it's a fabulous way to get to experience the university. You sit in on classes, you get to interact with upperclassmen, you get to talk to, like you said, faculty and staff. And I know for a fact that you will have the opportunity to interact with some of our Bridges students that are scholars now over the course of the next few days.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. I always tell students, if you're even slightly considering Miami, look into Bridges. It is such a great way to learn more about us. We have another question from Maggie. She'd like to know what research opportunities are available to first-year undergraduates without lab experience. So I don't know if Dr. Makaroff, if you'd like to take this one.
Sure. So that's a great question, Maggie. And so I'm guessing what you're saying, what you're asking is, do you need to have lab experience to actually do lab research? And if that's the question is no. So, but we do also have research experience that doesn't involve labs. So let me talk a little bit about both those things. So if you're interested in doing undergraduate research and you want to get started early, we have a really great program called the First Year Research Experience, where you'll actually take a class about research methodology. You'll learn how to ask a question. You'll work with a faculty member on setting up a project, and you can get involved. And those first year research experiences, they range from the bench scientists all the way to the social scientists and also some humanities research projects. So that's a really wide range of projects. And it's for a class, it's a living learning community, and it's called the First Year Research Experience. So it's both a class and doing research. But if, let's say you just want to get involved in doing research, and let's say, I'm making this up, but you're a chemistry and biochemistry major. And so you want to start doing undergraduate research. And so you show up on campus and you would talk to me, and I would tell you that you go online, you look up faculty's web pages, you find 4 or 5 faculty who are doing research projects that look interesting to you, and you shoot them an email. And you say, Dr. Makaroff, I'm interested in doing undergraduate research. Can I come talk to you? And I say, sure, make an appointment. And you come in and I tell you about my research project. I introduce you to the students in my laboratory. And you do that for 3 or 4 or 5 different faculty members. and you find the research lab that feels like it's the best fit for you. What is interesting? What are you going to be passionate about? And then we sign you up for independent study. We have you start working with either a senior undergraduate and the faculty member or a graduate student and the faculty member, and you learn the techniques. And usually the way it works is you start out learning the techniques, and while you're learning the techniques, you learn the theory behind it. So my research involves studying how the structure of a protein is related to its biological function. And so if you were going to do research in my lab and really understand everything that we do, you would have to wait until your senior year. But every year I have at least 4 or 5 undergraduates who start as freshmen. And they, via osmosis, they learn all about the research that I do while they're actually doing the experiments. And then by the time they're seniors, basically they're acting as a second-year graduate student. So they know more as an undergraduate than my incoming graduate students do. And so they're co-authors on papers, they go to presentations. And so basically we take you from really just getting started to where you're going to be an expert.
Thank you. We have a couple questions about ACT scores and SAT scores, so I can take those. You would like to know, are ACT scores used in scholarship considerations? We are fully test optional for fall 2021 admission. ACT and SAT scores are not required to be admitted to Miami or to receive merit scholarships. If you have taken the ACT and the SAT and you are satisfied with your scores and you feel as though they're a good reflection of your academic abilities, you are more than welcome to submit them. We will only use them in scholarship review if it is to your benefit. So if it could potentially increase your merit scholarship offer, then we would increase your merit scholarship offer, but you're absolutely not required to submit test scores to be admitted to Miami, to be admitted to any of our honors programs, or to receive merit aid this year. And another student, Eric, asked roughly what SAT or ACT score is required to receive a full ride scholarship at Miami. And it is complicated. I wish it were that straightforward, but it's not. I'm glad it's not. We take a holistic approach to reviewing applications at Miami, and that means we take a holistic approach to making admission decisions and also awarding merit scholarships and aid. So there is no minimum test score or GPA requirement to apply or necessarily be admitted to Miami. When we are making those kinds of decisions, we are looking at every single aspect of your application. We truly do read it line for line in our office, and we use all that information to kind of come up with that final offer for you in terms of admission and merit scholarships. So there is not a SAT or ACT score that we would be looking for necessarily for a full ride scholarship here on our campus. Another student asked if we could describe the difference between the Prodessa Scholars Program and the Honors College. I don't know if you'd like to take that, Dr. Baker, or I can take it.
Sure, I'll take it, and you can amplify my answer. Also, let me just follow on what Margaret was saying there, and just emphasize the point that admission in the honors colleges is also test score optional. I mean, everything, like she was saying, everything at Miami this year, test score optional. So it really is a holistic review of your application. The difference between the Prodessa Scholars Program and the Honors College, well, the Honors College is a 4-year commitment. The Honors College is going to be an intensive academic experience. It has a residential college. It has faculty mentorship. And you know, every student that goes through will need to take time to write a thesis or complete a major project in their senior year. The Prodessa Scholars Program really only encompasses your first year at Miami. And it is a program that is connected to centers, institutes, museums, some divisions here on campus. The Mallory Wilson Center, for example, is connected to Prodessa Scholars. Sustainability scholars certainly is connected to this. And Prodessa Scholars really is here to provide students who might not want a full 4-year honors experience with a great enriched learning opportunity in their first year. And it really is taking on the format of interdisciplinary exchange. There'll be themes for the seminars that they will offer students in their first year. And I think the theme this fall, I think is what they have decided relates to social justice. And the other thing is that the Prodessa Scholars has a $1,000 to $2,000 scholarship attached to it. And that is renewable across all 4 years, and that is also helpful. People always ask, why is there not scholarship money directly tied to the honors college? Well, it really is a matter of how it is distributed. Honors college students may not get a specific scholarship, but honors college students receive a tuition waiver to go study abroad at some point in their college career here at Miami. You have access to grant funding for research, so really it's a question of how you apply the financial opportunities. So I would say that if your thing is not research, then I would really seriously encourage you to take a strong look at Prodessa Scholars. If you are interested in research and you're interested in a very exciting but challenging academic environment, one that will test you, then I think the Honors College would be the right place for you. It really is going to end up being, you got to figure out what's the best fit for you. So, Margaret, what else would you say to that?
I think that sums it up pretty well. Although I will mention, I think a very distinct benefit of the Honors College that sometimes gets overlooked is the funding opportunities available both for research projects as well as education abroad. So if you're thinking about studying abroad, there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of space to do that here at Miami, and we encourage students to consider it if it's something they're interested in. And the Honors College works with a lot of students who think about studying abroad and provide some opportunities and some space to help make that financially feasible. So,
and I guess if I could just piggyback on that, is great as the Honors College is, I just want to make sure that people understand that you can do undergraduate research whether you're in the Honors College or not. So
Absolutely.
All of our students at Miami have the opportunity to do undergraduate research. And I would say probably at least half, if not more than half, of the students who have done research in my lab were not part of the honors program, but they were just interested in doing undergraduate research. And so I just want to let everyone know that if you want to do research, and whether it's bench science, you want to come up with a new mathematical derivative, you want to do social science, social justice research, you name it. If you want to work with a faculty member on their research project, you can do that, irregardless of whether you're part of the honors college or not. So
exactly right.
So Maggie asked, kind of piggybacking off of our discussion here pertaining to honors, what is the format of the 2021 Presidential Fellows Scholarship Competition? For those of you who may not be familiar, the Presidential Fellows Program is our full scholarship program that we have here on campus. So every year we select about 15 students to be Presidential Fellows, and they receive a full tuition scholarship for all 4 years, as well as room and board. And Maggie, unfortunately, we don't have an answer to your question yet. We are still in the process of determining what that competition will look like, whether it would be in person or if it will be a virtual format. We will definitely still be holding a competition for the Presidential Fellows Program. We just haven't finalized plans for that quite yet. Going to see how things progress with the pandemic in the coming months. And then we also have a question from Sean. It's kind of an advising question, so I can take it, or if anyone else wants to answer. He asks, if students earn AP credit for science or math courses in high school, should we still take that same equivalent course at Miami if we are a biochemistry major?
Ooh, so why don't, given it's biochemistry, why don't I take that? So I would say that it all depends on what the test is and what your score was. So if you were a biochemistry major and you got a 3 on your AP test, I would recommend that you would take freshman chemistry over again. If you if you were a math major and you were never going to have to take another chemistry class, then I would say take the credit and run. Likewise, if you got a 5, I would say that more than likely you want to take the credit and you want to go on to the next year. But I will also tell you that I've seen students who've gotten a 5 who have gone directly into organic chemistry, and they've done fantastic. Usually what happens is on the first exam, they don't do quite as well as they would like to, because college is totally different than high school. But I've also seen students who were pre-med and who got a 5 and decided that they were going to take freshman chemistry over again, and that because they had a 5, they knew everything, and they ended up getting a D in freshman chemistry. So my point being is there's no one answer. That we would sit down with you and talk with you about how comfortable you are with your skills in that area, how serious you are with studying, what your study habits are like, and then we would try to work with you to figure out what the right answer for you is. But typically, if it's in your area and you get a 4 or a 5, if it's in your major area, more than likely we're going to tell you should take it. If it's not in your major, area and you get a 3, we'll tell you to take it. And it's at 3 to 4 range though, I think, and I'll let Zeb sort of back me up on this, but that's sort of the more nebulous area right there.
Yes, and I would agree with that. And I think that particularly for something like Chemistry 141H, which is a challenging course, you definitely want to have a good grounding in that. And I think that moving forward in the major really is going to take listening to the faculty at orientation who talk with you about what you need to do. That doesn't sound like a lot here today, but a lot of students will get into that situation and think they know better, and then find themselves in the situation Dean Makaroff was talking about, that they end up with a D. And it was because they didn't take the advice of the people who are in that field or teaching those classes to say, even though you have AP credit, let's take a look at the class again, or yes, you appear to be ready to move on. And I really think that's where, like Margaret was saying, advising really comes into play. And we're very fortunate here at Miami. We have a very strong culture of faculty and professional advising that can certainly help you to navigate those questions once you know your scores and once you know what it is you really want to do.
But the short answer is that in the state of Ohio, anyone who gets a 3 or better can take the AP credit, and we totally honor that. But what we try to do is advise you to help you be most successful, because ultimately that's what we want is your success. And so that's why it sort of depends on what class it is, what your major is, whether you're going to take another class in that area that you need that foundation to do well, or whether it's sort of a one and done and it frees up your schedule to take other classes that you're more interested in. So we try to, again, take a more holistic approach to it.
Okay, I believe those are all of our questions that we have received this evening. I will go ahead and I'll put my contact information in the chat. So if students, family members, if you have any further questions, you can always feel free to email them to me. I will either get back with you or I will forward them to the appropriate person. But we are more than happy to connect with you in the future and continue the conversation.
So before we say goodnight, I just want to, on the screen, I have the next sessions. So I would encourage you to identify the sessions that you're most interested in. You can go to one, you can go to two, you can go to all four. And if there are sessions, if you're interested in sessions that are running concurrently, then we are taping all of these and you'll be able to access them from our website. But for the question about support for pre-medical studies, as you'll see, that's tomorrow. There's a session on biology, microbiology, and then the director of the Mallory Wilson Center will be presenting. On Wednesday will be the physical sciences, chemistry and biochemistry, geology and environmental earth science, and physics. Those are 3 separate sessions. Then next week on Monday, we have mathematics and statistics and analytics. And then on Tuesday, we have our social sciences. So anthropology, geography, and then psychology. So again, I encourage you to attend those sessions. Those will actually be where you'll be able to get in, kick the tires. We're going to have faculty as part of those sessions. We're going to have students as part of those sessions. And so you're really going to be able to get your specific questions answered about whatever major that you're interested in those sessions there. So it's been a pleasure being with you this evening. I look forward to to engaging you more. If you happen to be on campus for a tour, let us know and I can wave to you from my office window. But we hope you enjoy the evening and look forward to seeing you in the fall. Bye-bye, everyone.